What is up, lawyer friends? Welcome to Law Practice Accelerator. My name is Duncan, and I'm so excited that you're here. I'm really glad to do this episode. For those of you who were on Facebook, my last couple of Facebook Lives, you saw that I had some critiques of an ad and then a critique of a client newsletter that had gone, well, frankly, horribly wrong. And now I have an opportunity to suggest some ways that that client newsletter could have been really improved. And I'm going to do another episode on that ad coming up very soon. For those of you who are new, welcome to Law Practice Accelerator. This exists just so I can help you get the clients you want, clients that you love to serve, that you can serve at a really high level, so you can make the money you want. That doesn't necessarily mean the most money possible, but money that you enjoy making because you're serving clients that you love to serve. And all of that helps get you the life that you want, right? When you're serving clients that you love to serve, you feel like you're using your capacities really well and you're making good money doing it. That's a big part of having the life you want. That way you don't have to spend all of your time and energy trying to chase after clients, some of whom won't be great for you, and then not making the money you want and finding yourself totally spent at the end of that. We want to do away with all that. So Law Practice Accelerator exists to help you tune up your marketing, to use the very best direct response marketing principles and online sales tools to help you get the clients you want so you can make the money you want and live the life you want. But enough of intro. Let's get down to the subject matter for today, which is following up, as I noted, on something that I did a little bit earlier. Last time I was on Facebook Live, I had my client newsletter fail episode. And today we're going to fix it. But quick refresher. So here's the problem. We had a major firm in the Midwest send out a client, presumably also prospect newsletter that had the following headline: Misclassification of workers as independent contractors, not a violation of federal labor law. Now, as I noted in our previous discussion, that headline has two really obvious problems and one not so obvious problem. First obvious problem, number one, is it's really boring. It captures nobody's attention. Remember, when your email hits a client or prospect's inbox, it is fighting with tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of other subject lines to try to grab that attention. So if you come across with this bad boy right here, nobody's reading it. So that's big problem number one. Big problem number two, as we discussed, as you look at it, is it's telling people, presumably these are business owners or managers, people who actually have to classify workers as independent contractors or employees. It's telling them, hey, good news. You don't have a problem anymore. Misclassifying those people is A-OK, not a violation of federal labor law. As we noted before, that's effectively repelling business. That's telling these busy people there is no reason to call or email me today. You're just fine, which it turns out probably isn't the case and certainly isn't what you want to do from a marketing perspective. I mean, the whole point of sending out these emails, having these communications is, yes, absolutely, to convey value to your clients and client prospects, but also to give them a really good reason to call or email you. That's the point, right? That's how you get the clients you want so you can make the money you want and live the life you want. So we have a big headline problem. I also noted, quick recap, that the text of the email itself was painfully boring. And we're actually going to look at that a little bit today. And I will show you how I've at least attempted to improve it, make it more engaging, and keep your client wanting to read it and get all the way to the end. And we'll talk about some other issues that it had as well. So let's look at the headline first. Here are just a few suggestions for better headlines that would go with this exact same story. So one of the questions I had was, why would anybody even want to report this particular development in labor law if all it means is there's not a reason for people to contact you? Well, and the answer to that is you recast it. So here are a few headlines, and I've got some more that you might want to use for the exact same development. You'll notice these three all open up with danger, warning, attention, right? The whole idea is to do a pattern interrupt, right? Grab somebody right where they are and say, whoa, there's a problem. People respond when they think there is something that is threatening them. So one of the best ways we've been accustomed and trained to do this is that when you see something like danger or warning, your eyes open up a little bit more. You now have my attention, at least very briefly. So then when you follow it up with something like this, recent labor decision creates new pitfall when classifying workers as employees or independent contractors. If I'm somebody who actually has to make that kind of decision, if I'm somebody who actually has to think about that sort of thing, now you have my attention. Now, so that's one version of this, is the sort of the danger warning threat, right? The threat response is something we're trying to grab hold of so that people will grab their attention and we let them know there's something new here. There's something to be concerned about. And now I can go ahead and get them to read some more of my text. I've got them opening my email with headlines like that. Now, there's another sort of category of headlines I've created that follows another kind of pattern interrupt, which is asking someone a question. It's getting them a little bit unsettled. Think you're safe, or think you know how to classify workers as independent contractors and employees? Now, it's always a good idea to ask someone a question like that because their brains will automatically want to answer. But you created uncertainty here, right? So you followed up with, do you think you know how to do this? Do you think you're safe doing this? Now, again, there's a new development. Recent labor decision should make you think again. Now you have my attention. We opened a story loop here that people are going to want to follow up on. They're going to want to know, yeah, I thought I knew what was going on, but now you're telling me there's something new. I should probably look into this to see what's going on. That's going to want to drive people into your message, which is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to engage with these people so we can help them, right? Here are a couple more to consider. These are a little more fun. They're a little more evocative from a just sort of visualization perspective. Certainly, this recent labor decision muddies waters. And now I'm getting this idea that things are changing, not necessarily in a helpful way. When classifying workers as employees or independent contractors, here's a simple way to get clear and stay safe, right? I'm keeping the metaphor. I'm letting them know there's something they should want to dive into to see how they can get around this new muddying situation. Own or manage a business, what am I doing up front? I'm calling out to the person who is getting this email. If that's not somebody, those are not the right people, then they're probably not interested, right? I mean, you could probably also put in here, hiring manager, ? Right? So again, we're asking that question to try to get people engaged with that headline a little bit. Recent labor decision about classifying workers as employees or independent contractors could land you in the soup. Here's how to stay out and keep your business cooking. Now, it's a little cheesy, but it engages people, right? So that's part of the whole idea is that, okay, we're letting, in both of those headlines, we're letting them know there's something in here that's going to help you, right? Keep reading for a how-to. That's important. That keeps people engaged. And it solves the not boring problem. Like all of these wake people up. Right? I'm not saying there aren't other ones that can do it. There certainly are. I just wanted to give a few examples. And it gives them a reason to want to dive into this message and do business with you. We're either warning them that something big is happening and they need to grab hold of this, right? They need to get in there and see what's going on. We're making them question in the second set of headlines. Do I really know what's going on? Maybe there's something new that makes me question what I thought I knew, and I need to find this out. Or we're finding out, hey, on the third set, something new has happened. We've got a way to help you out, right? I think any of those headlines would be a significant improvement over this, which unfortunately really does create at least two strikes. Now, the third issue that we noted the last time that we talked about that particular headline was that this was further down in the body of the email itself, which said that an employer's good faith, erroneous misclassification of an employee as an independent contractor does not inherently constitute a violation of the NLRA. However, an NLRA violation occurs if an employer intentionally misclassifies a worker's status to interfere with an employee's Section 7 rights. And the issue that we noted about that particular piece of text is that when you hold it up against this headline that was actually on the email, which makes a blanket assertion that misclassifying workers is not a violation of federal labor law, well, it kind of looks like the text of the email is telling us that the headline might not be fully accurate, right? Now, as I noted in my previous discussion here, I am not a labor lawyer. I don't know anything about the case at issue here. I do know, though, that if somebody actually had gone through the pain and misery of reading the text of that email and had gotten to that point and read what I just had up on the screen before and compared it to the headline, they would say, there seems to be a disjunction here. I've got a problem here, right? Is the headline wrong or is the text wrong? Am I just misunderstanding this? What's going on? We've thrown them off in a frankly really unhelpful way, but it makes them question what's going on with us as opposed to making them say, I don't know things and I need to call my lawyer, right? So that's not good. The good news with all of the headlines that I'd suggested as being better is that we don't fall into that third strike of possibly being wrong on the law in our headline, because none of those headlines make assertions about what the law is. It simply notes that there's more to know, right? There are reasons to want to dig into our message and see what's there. That's important, right? So we cleared those first three hurdles that I discussed in my original program just by changing the headline a little bit. And frankly, radically improved it. Really increased your chances that somebody would actually read what's going on. Now, one thing that I also noted was that if you did get to the very end of the admittedly painful email, you would have found this, right? You were hoping, well, after all this, maybe there's a call to action, right? Well, in the original email, this was the call to action, such as it was. If you have questions or concerns regarding the impact of, which, as I noted, was not a misprint on my part, that is an actual copy and paste. They simply misspelled the, which led me to my other issue of, hey, you really should proofread these things before they go out. But put that aside for a moment. Back to the call to action question of the NLRB decision on your organization. Members of, I have redacted name of the firm, labor and employment employee benefits practice are available for assistance. And there really was no way to be kind about what that says. I mean, bottom line is that's lame as a call to action. It really isn't one. Hey, if you feel like it, maybe you could give me a ring and we could chat. No, right? We want to tell our clients and client prospects what it is we want them to do. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you should do it. People want to know what's the next step that I should be taking. So here's a suggestion on a call to action for this exact same situation, right? Don't take chances with your business. Call or email us today, right? You pick I don't care which one you choose, but make sure you tell them, like, contact us, right? Don't become the next Velox, which is the name of the entity that's at issue here. If you read the email, you know that's Velox, and I'll show you why that makes sense in the context of my rewritten email. Our team of experienced attorneys can help ensure your workers are properly classified and that you're treating them appropriately under the National Labor Relations Act and other applicable law. We'll keep your business cooking and out of the legal soup. Here's the big call to action, right? Don't hesitate. Call or email us today so we can, and then your offer goes here. Now, what might the offer be? That's entirely up to you as a lawyer, right? Is to decide, or as a firm, what is it that I want to offer people in response to this particular reason to call me, right? So we have this case that we're talking about here. Maybe we want to offer people a free audit of their classification practices, right? Maybe we want to tell them we're doing a fixed fee version of that. Maybe we want to offer something else entirely. Maybe you have a guide that you've just revised to take into account this decision that will help people understand how to classify workers, but that they should, at the bottom line is that you want them contacting you. That's the point. So that's a real call to action. It says, pick up the phone, get on that keyboard, contact me. That's what you want to do. You don't want to say, hey man, if you feel like talking to me sometime, maybe you should give me a call. No, all right? Way too laid back. I'm not saying we need to be jerks about it, but just be really clear. This is what I want you to do. Here's how you do it, right? And let them know what it is that you're offering, unless it's purely just to give me a call, which is fine, okay? So let's take a look at the text of the email itself, which I think does help. So you are now looking, I hope, if this is, nope, here we go. Now we should be looking, there we go. Still working with some of these tools at my screen here. So you'll see the strike throughs for the original text. So there's that original not so hot headline. And here are the better ones that I had just proposed to you. All of my stuff is in blue, you'll see here. Now, the body text revisions, these are alternative headings for different sections of the text, right? Originally, there was no heading here at all. It just launched into, on this date, the NLRB issued its decision that the misclassification does not violate NLRA. This is the most recent in a line of decisions by the current NLRB favoring employers. I mean, boring. Okay, lame. Okay, it's good. We do need to report the news, which is right up here, but I would preface it with something up here that starts to grab the attention. The ellipsis here, it's not an accident. It's not me being lazy. It is something that leads people to believe there's more, right? I mean, that's the whole point of doing this. So maybe you start with a trap for the unwary or false comfort. All of this gets you a little bit on edge, makes the reader want to read in and say, uh-oh, what's hiding here? So instead of just saying, hey, this is another great piece of news, we don't have to think about things anymore at all. Maybe what you could do instead is do something more like this. Although this might sound like a promising development, and in a sense it is, it can lead to a false sense of security for those who must decide whether a worker is an employer or an independent contractor. Ooh, see, we're opening the loop again, because the mere label you apply to a worker is far from the only problem that misclassification can create, as the company at issue and the NLRB's recent decision learned the hard way. Uh-oh. So instead of originally the headline here or the subhead here in the text was background. Oh my gosh. Listen, please, for the love of Pete, don't open the section, any section of an email or message that you're sending out in your newsletter with background, factual background, legal analysis, okay? Use your headings as an opportunity to communicate. Remember, some people, the only thing they're ever going to do is look at your headings. So make the headings, make them want to read the text. Don't bore them to tears with the headings. My goodness, you're going to do enough of that in the text. So here we go. All right, back to this. So how about this? Instead of background or factual background, engage them a little bit. Gamify it a bit if you can. Pop quiz. How would you classify these workers? Ooh, again, the sort of engagement. We're asking them questions. We're trying to involve them in the text, right? So we do need to give them, if you're going to keep any of this at all, in terms of going through the fact pattern, then let's make it fun. Let's ask them, how would you classify these drivers, right? And then let them know, hey, if you said this, good news, but don't let them get too comfortable. And say, of course, what actually happened for our friends at Velox is they got it wrong. That got them into trouble. Notice also, generally speaking, it's good to have shorter, punchier sentences where you can. Sometimes you get into longer sentences. That's okay. But here's another heading right here. An employee by any other name is still an employee. Okay, good. This is a little bit engaging, a little bit fun, a little reference, a little literary reference along the way. You'll notice that the tone of this blue text is much more conversational, much less stilted and stunted than what we had seen if you actually are taking time to try to read through the rest of this stuff. You'll see that it's a little on the painful side, right? And then here we go, right? We're getting right down to it. The real holding is that an employee by any other name is still an employee, one with all the rights of an employee under the National Labor Relations Act. So don't take chances, call or email, say, now our call to action makes sense, right? We've given them this little bit of background. We've let them know that there's a problem. This would be the heading, and here's our call to action, right? If you go and look through, if you care to, I will let you see this text was up here, all right? You will see it talks about things like Section 7 activities, Section 8C. None of this is defined. None of this is explained. All of this leaves somebody who doesn't happen to just know what these things are, scratching his or her head and wondering what in the world is the point. And then, of course, if you have questions or concerns, well, I haven't even told you what all this stuff actually is. So I wanted to show you what my thought on how you could improve that text looks like, right? A lot of it, you do want to condense it a little bit and just make it punchy, make it conversational, engage them, let them see there's a problem here. So we took what originally was a headline that repels business and was boring, and possibly misstated the law, or at least slightly misconstrued it. Okay, now we've got a series of different headlines we can use that grab attention, make people want to engage with it, right? And we have an email text with headings that actually drive people through and get them to a clear call to action at the end, which is call us, email us today. And you'd have to craft an offer. I don't know what the offer would be for that particular firm or any other firm. Here's what we want to do, right? Here's what we're willing to do for you to help you understand this development and not fall into the same trap that this VLOX company fell into, right? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That makes sure, and by the way, I actually did proofread it, at least to the point of doing spell check and grammar check. So I didn't misspell the anywhere to my knowledge. All right. So that's how you solve this particular problem in my estimation. I would be perfectly clear. Again, I am not a labor lawyer. I am not giving legal advice here. I am giving purely marketing advice. All right. So if there's something here that I've done that misstates the law, I hope the people who actually do this law would correct it. I'm just trying to show you how could you tune this up to make it more engaging for your clients and client prospects so they want to actually read your message and then engage with you, which presumably is the point of the whole exercise. Friends, we want to get the clients we want so we can make the money we want and live the life we want. That's what we do at Law Practice Accelerator. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you'll keep coming back, because my next one, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to see if we can't clean up the ad that I went after. Well, I critiqued on my other Facebook Live, and see if I can't come up with something that perhaps is a little bit better and would help our friend that we had a chance to critique last time. So thanks for tuning in. Keep coming back. And don't forget, leave me comments below. Let me know what you think of my headlines, my revisions. How would you have changed this email? How would you have taken this development in the law and made it interesting to clients? Love to hear from you. Or if you have a client email of your own that you've been thinking about sending out, or you have questions about your marketing of any kind, let me know about it in the comments. I want to engage with you. I want to make this as entertaining and interesting and helpful as possible. Also, be sure, here's a call to action, be sure that you like this page if you're on Facebook, subscribe if you are on YouTube. I want to have you with me, and I want to be able to provide lots of great content to you on an ongoing basis. And I want you to make sure you know when these things are happening and coming out. So thanks so much for being here. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, guys.